Hi, my name is Stephen Mulick. I'm here to talk about quantitative chemical analysis for Bronx Sciences Elective Day. You may be familiar with this course as Quant or Post AP Chemistry. I usually abbreviate as QCA. Let's talk about it. You, as a student, you are currently taking AP Chemistry, or you have in the past, and that's really the basis of interest. That's our prerequisite. The AP course focuses a lot on well, doesn't focus. That's the point. It's a survey course. You do a little bit of several different topics. We instead are going to focus on two main topics, but do so in far more depth: equilibrium and acid-base chemistry. This is typically what happens in your second, third, and fourth years as a chemistry major or a pre-med track, or however you want to think about it, where each course looks at a certain area of chemistry instead of talks about everything. We also put a huge emphasis, the quantitative portion is on data, quality of data, how data is measured. So the work that we do talks about data collection and data analysis. Specifically, we start with statistics. The statistics that we build are carried throughout the year. It's expected that you are performing statistical analyses on the labs that you do starting in September. Typically, to get an average, you need at least 2 trials. To get a standard deviation, it's suggested to get at least 3 trials. So you need more time in the lab. So if you're interested in getting lab exposure, lab time, this is a good course for you. With that additional time, it is expected that you come up with additional product. The up and downside to this course in terms of the AP, in terms of the College Board, this is not an AP course. This is not an accredited course. You don't get credit through like Syracuse University or SUNY Albany like you would with the astronomy course. There's no college credit to be garnered. You do get a leg up if you do end up taking chemistry in college. You get a lot more exposure. A lot of students come back from college and tell me, wow, I'm glad, I'm seeing stuff that I've seen in your course in college, so it's a much easier time. One of the benefits is that there's no AP exam. There is no final. We are not beholden to anyone else but ourselves in terms of what we do. So, that's both a plus and a negative. We get to do what we want, but we don't get anything beyond what we get, right? The academic pursuit. In terms of the course itself, it's a 6-period course, so we get 1 double, 4 singles. The double is always in a lab room. The singles, we've worked in flexibility as a school. The lab room is frequently unoccupied, so we get the choice to move into the lab room. I like to think at the beginning of the year we do go in once a week, but by the end of the year we're going in 4 or 5 times a week to just make sure you get the time that you need to pursue the interests that you have. Some years it's only been open 4 days a week. We work around that, but it's a very flexible scheduling that we have, and I appreciate that. In terms of the class itself, because it is modeled after the college experience, there is a discussion lecture style information gathering. Obviously, there are breaks to work on problems in class. We do less homework, more lab work. The idea is that the homework is really more of a review for a test. So leading up to a test, we have a recitation style class where people just bring their questions. More than going over the work, it's more like you did it. The assumption is you did it. What questions do you have? This is I like to think I put a lot of power into the students' hands with this course. There are still the restrictions of Bronx Science, the requests of 2 major assessments per marking period. We do have mostly in-class exams, single period. Twice I do lab reports as tests, once in the fall, once in the spring. So you do get out of having tests. A lot of times the tests, I'm very clear about what they contain, so it should be relatively nice. The labs themselves, it is the compilation of 1 to 3 weeks worth of work. If you do the math there, it does come out to be about 12 or 13 labs that we do over the course of the year. Compared to your Regents course, it was like 25. You are encouraged to get your data analysis started in class. So even if you don't take 3 weeks to do your lab, we'll give the class 3 weeks to do the lab so that you have time to start the write-up in the room. I'm trying to give you the opportunity to exercise some focus and get out of that idea of I need to do this the night it's due. We have the time. You're allowed to ask me questions about the labs, so why not use that time to be productive? Speaking of the labs, let's end on that. I have a library of about 20 labs. There's a couple more I haven't quite fully thought out yet, but The idea is that we start off with the first 5. Everyone's doing them all together at the same pace. Lab 6 is an exam for the fall. I think 15. Yeah, 15 is the exam for the spring. So those 2 are out of the way. But all of the other labs, you do them at your discretion. So I have this library. I give you the full library at the beginning of the year. You can look at the labs. If it's an interest you have, you can pursue it. So after lab 5, we start labeling them with letters, A, B, C, D, E. Because for you, lab A might be lab 7. For someone else in the class, lab A might be lab 12. I take the energy to prepare several labs at once to allow you to explore your interests. So after lab 5, you pick, a direction to go in. You can be interested in spectroscopy, buffers, or titration, and you start at the top and work your way down. Kind of an upside down tree, I guess. If you play video games, it's like, those tiers, those skill trees that you build. If you're interested in spectroscopy, your lab A would be lab 7. After you complete lab 7, that allows you access to this second rung of the ladder, working your way down. And then you can work on any of these, 8, 18, 19, or 20, or you can move between them. You can go, all right, lab A is 7, lab B is 8, and then lab C you can do 18. If you're really interested in spectroscopy but you don't want to move on to the next level, that's a choice you can make. Alternatively, you complete lab 7, you say, I don't really want to do this. Let's work on buffers instead. Well, then you have to start at lab 12. Or if you were looking at titration, you can pick either 10 or 11 to start. So the idea is you kind of work your way down, and you can either get a surface level understanding of all 3 topics, or you can go really into a deep dive. And as we get to the bottom of these trees here, the labs themselves have less information, partially because I do want to make it more open for you to investigate, develop your own procedure, but also some of them don't really have good answers yet, and they definitely don't have procedures, and it starts to be something where we work together to develop something a little bit more in the realm of what you'd see in research than it is you go do this lab that I've written for you, come back with an answer, and then you get a gold star. So if you're interested in this open-ended idea of figuring it out instead of proving something that's already been known, this might be a good direction for you to go in. Hope to see you soon.